Hello students, today I'll discuss about Newton's laws of motion. There are three laws of motion: first law, second law and third law. Here rest is also referred, but we can say that when there is no motion, that body is at rest. Now in first law it is said, every body continues its state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line until it is not acted upon by any external unbalanced force. So, force is that physical cause which disturbs the state of rest or of uniform motion, which really disturbs or tries to disturb. Okay. So we can say in this way, force is the physical cause which changes or tries to change the state of rest or of uniform motion of a body along a straight line. So this is one part of the first law. Another part, if force is not applied, then everybody tries to maintain its state of rest or of uniform motion. That is called inertia. So inertia are of two types. One is inertia of rest and another is inertia of motion. Here I have written like this. First law, from the first law we are getting the ideas, inertia and the definition of force. Inertia are of two types. One is inertia of rest and that is inertia of motion. That is when the body has the tendency to remain its position of rest, that is called inertia of rest, and when the body has the tendency to maintain its motion along a straight line, uniform motion along a straight line, that is called inertia of motion. Now we come to the second law. In the second law of Newton told that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force, and the momentum changes in that direction in which the force acts. Here we can see from the second law we can get these ideas. One is the momentum, another is measurement of force, another is unit of force. We say that momentum is the kinetic property acquired by the body by virtue of its mass and velocity. And momentum, small p, generally is denoted by small p. That is equal to mass into velocity. So I have written here, p is equal to m into v. And here I have written F is directly proportional to dp dt. That is, this is the mathematical form of Newton's second law, at least the first part. That is, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force. So force is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum, and we can write F proportional to dp dt. Applying this, using this, we can derive also F is equal to ma. That is, force is equal to mass into acceleration. In another video, I have proved this. Try to see that how F is equal to ma. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. And the third aspect we are getting from the second law, that is the unit of force. In SI system, the unit of force is Newton, and it is mass into acceleration. So we can define the unit of force in this way. Say 1 Newton in this way. We know that in SI system the mass is 1 kg and the acceleration is 1 meter per second square. So we'll say 1 Newton is that amount of force which, when acts on a body of mass 1 kg, 1 Newton is that amount of force which, when acts on a body of 1 kg, it produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So using this relation F is equal to ma, it is very easy to define the unit of force also. So three aspects we are getting from here. One is momentum, and that is measurement of force, and another is unit of force. Now what about the third law? Third law is, to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. It is very easy to remember. Everybody can say very easily, to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. But remember, if you move and if anybody pushes you, you cannot give the reaction properly, because the moving things cannot give the equal and opposite reaction. Okay, only the rigid body can give it. If there is some muddy place, you cannot, if you give the action, the reaction will not be proper. Only the rigid body, the stagnant body, can give the equal and opposite reaction. That you have to remember. Another thing, from third law we are getting the idea of action and reaction, and also the relation between action and reaction, that action and reaction are equal and opposite to each other. Now there is a question whether there is any displacement, how the displacement is possible. How the displacement is possible, because we know the action and reaction are cancelling each other. The answer will be that action and reaction generally act on two different bodies, not on the same body. Therefore, displacement is possible. I can explain this in another way. You sit on a chair and you take your legs up. Okay. Don't touch the ground. Then you try to pull the chair up. You cannot do that. So why? Because action and reaction are acting on the same system, same body, on the chair. So we can conclude that action and reaction are equal and opposite, and instead of that, the displacement is possible when the action and reaction are acting on two different bodies, not on the same bodies. If they act on the same bodies, then they will cancel each other. Hope you have understood. Try to subscribe my channel. You will get all your requirement listed in a well-mannered form. Give like wherever is possible. Thank you.